चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालां पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातदहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तो स्वामीति नामिने नामस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य जय वांगे जय प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। So we are talking about Prema Bhakti, very powerful, exalted topic, and we'll try to go through it. And with Prema Bhakti, Nectar of Devotion will be completing today. There will be nothing much left. We'll just try to summarize in one class and then we are done. So, Prem Bhakti, we'll see definition of the Prem Bhakti and then what are the causes of Prema Bhakti, and then stages leading towards Prem Bhakti. I think we know what are those stages that leads towards Prem Bhakti. So, cause of Prem Bhakti, there are two prominent causes: Bhavataha Prema Bhakti and Prasadataha Prema Bhakti. And Bhava Utaha means arising from Bhava, Bhava stage. And we know what is Bhava and what are the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti. And then Prasada Udataha, arising from Krishna's mercy. So, Bhava Bhakti stage, we can get to the Bhava Bhakti stage by or Prema Bhakti that comes through Bhava Bhakti, let's put it that way, has this Badha Bhavataha Bhakti, which means Prem Bhakti that is arising from Badhi Sadhana leading to Bhav, and then Bhava Bhakti to Prem Bhakti, and then Raga Anuga Bhavataha Bhakti, which means Bhava Bhakti arising from Rag, and then from Rag leading to Prema Bhakti. And then Prasadotaha Bhakti is basically by mercy of Lord. And they don't have to go through the process of Bhadi Bhakti. Mahatmya Janajukta Prema and then Kevalya Prema. So these are the stage, and we'll see a little bit more about all of these topics. But some of these things are for sure going to be an exam. So the more you understand, the better. I'm just going to ask, can you tell what is the different causes of Prema Bhakti to arise? Then you'll have to give all of this information if you want to get 100% score and explain those little bit. So many things from Bhav Prema for sure will be part of the exams. No doubt about it. What is Tata Sakti, what is Mukhya Sakti, and all of that. So definition of Prema Bhakti is very powerful definition. And let's see now. It's kind of going to very much summarize everything that we have talked so far. Shamyak Masrinito Shwanto. So what is Shamyak Masrinita? This Masrinita word was before also, which means softening the heart. So in Bhava Bhakti, the heart starts softening, but it has not fully softened. But in Prema Bhakti, it's completely softened. And then Mamatva arises. Okay, so Mamatva Sakyan Kitaha Ekankitaha. So Ekankitaha means Ekankit, coming from oneness, coming from, it's mind type of concept. So Prema that produces extreme possessiveness for for Krishna. So extreme possession towards Krishna. So these are the two secondary character. First, at Prema stage, devotee's heart will be completely softened, and then uh, devotee will have a extreme possession towards Krishna. Oh, Krishna! You will see that uh, Krishna will kill all the demons, and still gopis and gopas will think that, oh, this is because of our love, because of our mercy, because of our prayers to the demigods. So, that's very exalted mood. My Krishna, our Krishna, that type of, uh, possessiveness, like mother has for their son or daughter. So this is very, high stage. And then mukhya lakshan is that bhava sayeva sandratma. So sandratma means condensation. So bhava stage, for sure it has to carry, right? The stage of the bhakti. So the bhava stage now have fully matured. So bhav has extremely intensified, and buddha prema negadyate. Buddha means intelligent people. All the learned men say this is the stage of prema. So what is the stage of prema? When our heart is completely soft. And when heart is softening, no gross sin, no subtle sin, no subtlest sin. All of that is gone. So we have studied that in Upanishad, that what is gross sin, what is subtle sin, and what is subtlemost sin. And when heart is softening, then this avikara or this bikara of the heart is going out. So heart has to soften. In bhakti, heart has to soften. And then extreme possessions towards Krishna arise. And bhava has fully matured. So very important thing that we have to understand, love is in mundane application in our day-to-day understanding. Love is mostly used for lust. It has become the synonyms for lust. But love is the word that mostly used when it's pure and not lusty. And love is the word that can be used in relationship between Bhakt and Bhagwan. So love is like gold and lust is like iron. This is very important uh, question or statement that in most of the Bhakti Sastri exam comes. What is gold and what is iron? I remember when I was giving Bhakti Sastri, this question was there. What is gold and what is iron? So you need to understand what is gold, what is iron. Okay, so the pure love that we have for Krishna is like gold, and then the lust for the things of the material world is like iron. So love definitely has to be used in context of devotional service, not in other contexts. In other contexts, it's basically lust. Another very important thing that we have to notice is that when we are talking about stages of bhakti, we or our understanding is mostly outcome of the mode of material nature. Very important point. Very important point. So we are still dealing with passion, ignorance, and goodness. And then the way we perceive surrounding, the way we perceive things, or even our perception about Krishna consciousness, or even perception about devotee, or or whatever we are perceiving, is mostly outcome of the mode of material nature. It's mostly mode's outcomes. It's not beyond the mode. But when we are talking about bhav and prem, it was very easy to say that what is raga bhakti? Raga bhakti is coming from the ragatmika, and who are ragatmika devotee? Oh, all the residents of uh, Braja. Brajvasis are the ragatmika bhakta. Very easy, just in simple word I can say that. Oh, they are the ragatmika bhakti. But when we say the ragatmika bhakta, their emotion is not product of modes of material nature. So, and we also had in Bhava Bhakti session and in Prema Bhakti session also, that even if you see some fault in Bhava Bhaktas or Prema Bhakta, you don't criticize them. Why? Because your emotion is outcome of the mode of material nature. Their emotion is not outcome of the mode of material nature. Their emotion is basically outcome of their pure love for Krishna. So Prabhupada was not seen by so many people as a very, very, profound acharya. They thought he's flying on plane, he is trying to build a temple, installing his deity. But that action was not outcome of the mode of material nature. That outcome is love. So that's the distinctions, benefit of the doubt sometimes also, Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Bhujana Bujaya. So when we say that statement that Vaishnava Kriya Mudra Bhujana Bujaya, you have to understand that some aspect of it I'm not able to understand. So pray to come out with some way to deal with the situation, but for sure not trying to be offensive. So this is very important concept that I wanted to drive through. So two, Sarup Shakti and Tatas Shakti. We are talking about the characters of the Prema Bhakti. So primary Sarup Lakshan is Sandratma, very condensed Sandratma, condensed state of bhav, and that's the primary Mukhya Lakshan. And Tatastha Lakshana is completely soften of the heart and extreme possession. What is difference between primary and Sarupa and Tatastha Lakshana? You have to always remember that you are making a tea. So sugar is there, water is there, but if you have some hot water and you put 2 spoons of sugar, it's not going to be tea. But once you put tea, then it becomes tea. So tea, sugar, and water, all of these three are critical elements. All of these have to be there for a drink to be called as tea. But tea is very important. Tea is principal component. If tea is not there, you're not calling it tea. So likewise, other examples you can think, but that's how you see. So what is primary uh, symptom of prem? It's condensed state of bhava. Bhava is very much condensed. For example, you take a sugar cane, and then from sugar cane, you have a gur coming, and then you basically from gur, it comes that crystal sugar. It's more sweeter, more condensed. So likewise, it's basically very, very condensed form of the bhava state. So these two elements, the tatastha shakti or the tatastha lakshana, have to be there. If these two are not there, then it's not prem. But If you have these two and you don't have the primary one, then it's not prem. So that's, we have talked about all of this concept. So you need to understand, and you need to remember for exams that what is the primary Sarup Lakshan and what is the Tatastha Lakshan. And then here is a verse cited that talks about what is the mamatva, extreme position. It says, Ananya mamata Vishnu mamata prema sangata bhaktir iti uchyate bhishma halada udhavo narade. So who are the devotees here whose names are given, who exhibited extreme possession on Supreme Personality of Godhead? Oh, this is my property. The name comes Lord Bhishma, Mahajana. Prahlad is Mahajan. Uddhav. Uddhav was very close associates of Krishna. 11th canto, Uddhav Gita. And then Narad Muni. So these are some of the devotee. If you want to understand what is the position or extreme position, through these names, we can remember, through these devotees, we can remember how they exhibited their extreme position towards Krishna. So what are the causes of Prem Bhakti? We saw that Bhavataha and Prasadotaha. Bhavataha, which is basically coming from Badhi Bhakti, is known as Badha Bhavataha. And when Bhava is coming from Raga, it is called Raga Anugya Bhavataha. Then Prasadotaha, devotion or Prema, is Mahatmaya Janajukta Prema, and then Kevala Prema. So we'll talk a little bit more about Vaidhi Bhavataha, because this is something is very applicable to us. Raganuga Bhavataha, arising from Raga. An example is given, a devotee, her name is Chandrakanti. So just to understand what is this Raganuga Bhavataha, is a stage where one has not so called, has not performed a Badhi Bhakti, but they are in a relationship with Krishna. So this Chandrakanti devotee, she considered Krishna as her husband, and whole life she remained celibacy. She didn't marry thinking that Krishna is my husband. And she acted in that relationship with Krishna. So that's one of the example that how one will act. One will have that relationship, and not only one will think that I have the relationship, but one will have the determination to act on that relationship. And then prasadotaha is basically prem that's given to devotee by mercy of Krishna. And Mahatmaya Janajukta Prema example is given Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, he did not perform Badhi Bhakti, chant 16 rounds or 32 rounds or 64 rounds, Asmanam Kirtanam, Bandhanam Dashyam, Shakyani, all of that, he did not do that. But Krishna gave him Krishna Prema. And then Keval Prema is basically seen in gopis. So what happens is that Badha Bhavataha, or bhav that's coming from Badhi, that leads to Mahatmya Janajukta Prema. And Raganugya Bhavataha, that leads to Keval Prema. And gopis are example of Keval Prema. They're example of Raganuga Bhaktas. Okay, so this is another important slide that go ahead, Mataji. I can hear you.
Hare Krishna, quick
Hari
question.
Hari Dandavad.
Prabhuji, so Bali Maharaj example, we heard about Bali Maharaj as an example of Atma Nivedana, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that means he has not performed anything, any Vaidhi Bhakti.
So
he didn't have any mode of love for Krishna then?
no, he has love for Krishna, but his stage of coming to Prem Bhakti was mercy of Krishna. So you will see that. So to make this point more clear, did Dhruva do any tapasya or not? Did he perform Bhakti Bhakti or not?
Yeah.
He did, right?
He did.
But his bhakti, his duration of Bhakti Bhakti was very short, right? So Krishna came and gave mercy to him because of his child or whatever it is, right? So that's the way to see it. That somebody did maybe a spontaneous short-term devotion, and then mercy of Krishna came to that person. Jagai Madhai, right? They got the mercy of Krishna. So that's what we are talking. Yes, Maharaj Bali Maharaj did bhakti, but he is not in a category of Prahlad Maharaj or other devotee, right? He is a devotee, no doubt about it. But also he was empowered. He was he got causeless mercy when Vamandev appeared, right? And put his feet on his head and gave him everything. I said, since this happened with you, I'll be your doorkeeper and all of that. So and that's what this one is trying to show, exactly aligning with what you said, that it's Bhakti Bhakti, some part of Bhakti Bhakti, some degree of Bhakti Bhakti is there, and that will lead one to Mahatmya Jana Yukta Prema. Some anga has been performed, and then that anga is leading to Prem, where in Raganuga stage, like gopis and brajvasis, they have not literally followed the Badhi Marg, Vidhi Marg, and they are getting to Krishna Prem. And that transaction is mostly transaction of the Prema. There is no rules and regulations. I don't know if it helps you understand or not. If not, then you can ask in different way.
No problem. I think it helps. Yeah.
So what we're trying to say, Mataji, here is that for Mahatma Jana Yukta Prema, some Bhakti Bhakti is needed. But this perfection is not just because of your Bhakti Bhakti. You see that way, Mataji? So coming to the stage of Prema is not due to your Bhakti Bhakti only. Rather, mercy of Krishna is there. If you really look at both of these, at some point the mercy of Krishna has to come, right? So in fact, this Bhavata Bhakti, what it does is that it's qualify you to get the mercy of Krishna. And that's the point we were talking. I think in few class back, I'm not sure who brought this question, but there was discussion that we can't do anything. Or other way around, I don't remember. And an answer was given, the two, endeavor and mercy, right? So we have to put our endeavor and we have to have our mercy. So this endeavor part is here, okay? And then the mercy has to come. Is it clear, Mataji, or did I confuse you?
No problem. It's very clear now.
So that's how we see. So ultimately, what we're trying to say is that the Prema stage will not manifest without the mercy of Krishna. That's what basically, this is a closed circle now, right? It's closed loop. It's not open loop. So Krishna's mercy has to be there. So let's focus on this one now. This is something that we need to understand better. So cause of Prema Bhakti, we talked about Bhavatah, arising from Bhav, and then this Bhav is coming from Badhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So Badhi Bhaktas in 11th canto, second chapter, give a reference that what are the symptoms when one come to the stage of Prema Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. It says that evam vrataha shwapriya nam kritaya chatan anurago drut chitta uchchahe hasati atvohroditi rauti gayati unmadvan rityati lokbhayaha. So what happens is that if one has come to this exalted stage, then hasati, these are the 6 symptoms you will hear. These 6 symptoms of devotion, 6 symptoms of advanced devotion manifest in the person's body. And some of these, might be happening. But it's been said that if it's happening in a very lower stage of bhakti, like for example, sometimes we start crying, right? Crying, you'll see that's happening. Or sometimes, some different emotion of bhakti will appear. And Shastra says that if it's happening in very lower stage, then that's basically simple. Krishna is showing the simple. Krishna is, giving some taste that this is how the bhakti is, some inspiration, some milestone, but it's not a study.
So Hare
Comes,
Krishna.
yeah,
So sorry to interrupt you. So what you're saying is
no,
that you need to have all 6 of these manifested for prema, or 1 or 2 are enough?
it's a good question. Not all 6, but some of this for sure. All 6 might not be simultaneously manifesting, but at some point, one of these will manifest. So devotee will have, one or many of these symptoms. Such as we can even look at some of the examples, like Gaur Kishore Das Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Maharaj was a Prema Bhakta, and he was indifferent to public opinion. He didn't care what people are talking about him. I don't think that he was singing like a madman or he was dancing like a madman. But he has some of these qualities. For sure, he was laughing sometimes loudly. So hasati atato rodati rauti gayati unmadavan nrityati lok bhayaha. So they will laugh very loudly. I don't know. Prabhupada sometimes, he would say, "Oh, didn't you see the Narad Muni was here? Have you heard that pastime?" I don't want to take too much of your time. But Prabhupada said, "Didn't you see the Narad Muni was here?" I don't know how Prabhupada was able to see Narad Muni. So something, some extra, uh, you know, uh, I, I would say that celestial type of activity, extra celestial, something that we can't perceive. A devotee in Prema stage will perceive and express. And crying is uh, something that most of us know. Shouting and sings like a madman, dances like a madman, and then indifferent to public opinion, what people think, good or bad. His loka bhaya, the bhaya of loka is not there. So this one again is Badhi Bhavataha, arising from Badhi sadhana. If Prema is manifesting, then we have these qualities manifesting in our behavior. So here is another way to look at it. So Badhi Bhakti leads to Badhi Bhav, and Raganuga Bhakti leads to Raganuga Bhav, and then Badhi Bhav leads to Badhi Bhavut Prema, and Raganuga Bhakti that leads to Raganuga Bhavut Prema. And what happens is that the Badhi Bhav with Lord Mercy here, see here, this is the one. Badhi Bhav with Lord Mercy gets to Mahatmya Jana Prema. And a devotee who have perfected their devotional service through Badhi Marg, they go to Vaikuntha. So I don't know exactly what are the other details we have here. It might be a little bit more that we have to digest to understand this. But the Badhi Marg leads to Vaikuntha. Raganuga Marg leads to Golok Vrindavan. And I vividly remember, I think it's in Shishi Adi Lila, very, clearly this verse is mentioned. Sakala Jagata Kare Veda Bhakti Kailena Paya Krishna Prema Shakti. So the whole world is doing Veda Bhakti, but by doing Veda Bhakti, one cannot really go to this higher destination of Golok Vrindavan, which means the Veda Bhakti slowly and slowly had to start turning into Raganuga Bhakti. And we know that Raganuga stage will manifest at Nishtha. So from Nishtha, we start basically practicing the Raganuga Bhakti, and then Raganuga Bhakti is turning into the Bhav Bhakti after Nishtha, and then Ashakti, Nishtha, Ruchi, and then Ashakti. So from sadhana to Ashakti is still it's bhakti in practice. It's still sadhana. It's still sadhana. Okay, so sadhana is very, very important. So Raganuga Bhakti is also part of the sadhana bhakti. Veda Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti both are part of the sadhana bhakti. Okay, so in your sadhana bhakti, after Nishtha, the Veda turns into Raga. But both of these are sadhana bhakti only. Okay, so that is why at some point, once we are very serious in our Veda bhakti, then the emotion for Krishna should start manifesting. That's the symptom. And more than that, the bhakti will become natural, a spontaneous devotion for Krishna. It's not something that we have to force. It's not something that seems like artificial imposition on us. Right now, we might have made some advancement, but still bhakti seems to be artificial imposition. It doesn't seem to be matching with our inherent nature. It sounds like it's still something that we are trying to impose on ourselves. It's not sticking, it's not like hard Fevicol type of glue, that, oh, I heard about the bhakti, now I'm very much glued in. I don't think so. It's otherwise the way we operate will be completely different. Applies to everybody. I'm part of that too, because it still seems like that this is not something that very easy, not something that's very natural, not something that that seems we have even done in the past. But then Bhakti Bhakti will help, and that's why these stages are. Because as long as we are lower than anartha nivriti, these things will happen. We talked about all of that, in our last discussion. That after anartha nivriti, the nishtha comes, and nishtha is now basically one becomes fixed in Krishna's activities. Okay, and today morning I was giving class in temple, and I talked some of these things, that what exactly it means by fixed in Krishna activities, because uh, the way we interact with the modes of material nature, very much the modes are sucking us in. It's called a scumbing stage. We are sucked in, whatever it is there. We are very much like sucked in. When you do vacuum at your house, you see all the small dust and stuff that's on the floor. The vacuum will suck in. So this material energy is very strong. It's not like that, in America, everywhere, the whole, world, people who are not on the path of God realization, they are sucked in. They're very much sucked in. And then the vacuum, whichever way they want to treat and take you, is taking it. And thousands of the reason to get sucked in. Thousands of the reason. My family, my home, my country, my nation, my this, my that, my all the mamatva is for everything else, not for Krishna. And that sucked in stage will continue unless and until we come to this stage of nishtha. So how to slowly and slowly start coming out of this scumbing is basically dovetailing. And what is dovetailing? Dovetailing is that using our propensity in service of Krishna. Whatever propensity we have, desires we have, we try to use it in service of Krishna, and then slowly and slowly, that will release, and then will bring us to the stage of Yukta Vairagya, where now things that we have in our life is only to please Krishna. And then after that, again, the same thing comes, a spontaneous devotion. Okay. So once a spontaneous devotion comes, so why I said that story to you, just to give you a quantitative understanding. What is Nistha? Nistha is the stage where Sarapadhi Binurmukte Tat Pravotena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Uttamam. We have seen that. That's another definition of the Bhakti. So Sarapadhi Binurmukte, all of this designation slowly and slowly has to fall down, crumble down. I'm not this. And then only in that stage, here's another thing. It's not that we have to do it for any other reason, or we can do something else, and that something else can compensate and give me a nistha. No, that's very important. A very important concept again, that we cannot get to the nistha stage unless and until we haven't basically come to the stage of sarva padi binurmukte. We have come to anyavirasita sunyam, gyan karmadya navritam. The very first definition of the shamanya bhakti, and we talked in the beginning also, that has to carry all the way. It's not like that anyavirasita sunyam, gyan karmadya that is gone. That was just the samanya bhakti and we left it. It's carrying right even here. So Samanya Bhakti has to be there. Those in Samanya Bhakti also, we had Gaun Lakshan and we had Mukhya Lakshan. So those two are still carrying here, and on top of that you are building another layer. That's kind of pyramidal. That's kind of refining it. So it's not like that the quality of the Uttama Bhakti has gone out. So at Nistha stage, the spontaneous love, the natural inherent love, Jiva Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das, that Swarupa is not going to manifest unless and until there is some other Swarupa. Mukti Hitva Swarupena Swarupena Vyavasthita. So that another Rupa that we have, that Krupa, as long as we have the form, the designation, and the identity we have, then we are bound by that designation. And then we are not liberated. So people say liberated, liberated, liberated. How we can be liberated? You are bounding yourself, you are bound. So any practice that one is engaged in, for example, Jnani, through the process of knowledge, Jnani come to that stage where he is detached with all the designation. At least that has to come. That detachment has not transformed into love. Please be very careful and make sure that you getting this. So Jnani has come to the stage of detachment, but that detachment has not transformed in bhakti. That's why, since they have come to the stage of detachment, that detachment will lead them to the Brahman effulgence. It's not taking them back to home, back to Krishna. But he has at least come to that stage by jnana. Okay, that anartha can be, all other padhi has to be gone. And that's why they go into the forest and they live in a secluded place and they do tapasya. Huge finances. Why? They want to drop out all other padhis. But that achievement is not based on bhakti. That's why their goal is not Golok Vrindavan. So Brahmameti, Pramameti, Bhagwaneti, Sabdate. Have you heard that? All of you have heard that. Vadanti Tat Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajyanam Advayam. What is that Advayam? Brahmameti, Paramatmeti, Bhagwaneti Sabdate. So this is a gradual process. Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagwan realization. Brahman realization is Shat realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, and Paramatma is Sat and Chit. So Sat feature of the Lord has been understood by Brahman, by Brahman realization. Sat and Chit, the knowledge potency and eternity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, those two potency are realized by soul up to Paramatma realization. Anand is missing. Prema Pumartho Mahan. What is the Paramananda? Prema. The Prem, the love for Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is the ingredient. That's the ingredient that's missing to the Paramatma. So one can come to that stage and Prema is missing. If Prema is missing, then you are not going back to home, back to Krishna. So what we are trying to say here is that for one to come to the stage of Prem, or to come to the stage of back to home, back to Krishna look, this Prem has to come. Love, unalloyed love for Supreme Personality of Godhead has to come. Ahitukya pratihata yatma suprasiddhati. Apratihata and ahituki, that has to happen. And that was basically, Mahaprabhu saying through his Sikshastakam verse that whole word, Shunaitam Jagat Sarvam, this whole word is basically Shunya. What? Because I am in the separation of Krishna. So as long as this enjoyment propensity is there, you would not feel that I'm in separation from Krishna. Because we still feel that I'm part of something and I'm enjoying that something. But at the higher stage, at the very, very highest stage, Vipralambha bhav has to, Sambhoga and Vipralambha. So Sambhoga is there and Vipralambha is even higher than that. So Mahaprabhu, when he was on this planet, he exhibited the bhav of Vipralambha. So that Vipralambha bhav, the mood of separation, bhav, has to slowly and slowly come. By the way, there are other, 7 other stages after Prem. Okay, so that we are not talking here, but just to kind of give you a roadmap that all of these, once Prema is developed, then we are fully situated to have other higher taste. All the contamination of our material existence has fully annihilated. Okay, so these are the stages of the bhakti. Up to ashakti, see, very high stage, is still in the bhakti in practice stage. So up to ashakti or bhakti is still in the practice stage. You heard that, Shraddha body and Siddha body, right? So up to Asakti, you are Shraddha body. And then Siddha body, perfected bhakti starts after Bhava and then onwards. Okay. So these are the stages of bhakti. I didn't read this verse, Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Tatha Bhajan Kriya. I have gone through it multiple times, and these are the 9 stages. You might have heard it thousands of the time in other discussions, but for purpose of this course, I just wanted to give you some quantitative way to understand whatever understanding I can share to make some of the make some of these terms more clear to us. Okay. But what happens is that here, this slide we saw in the very beginning of this course, beginning of this, not course, but this particular module in Nectar of Devotion, we saw that these are the stages, right? Pure unalloyed bhakti has these 6 qualities. Okay, Klesa Agni Shubdha Moksha Lagukrita Sudurlabha Sandrananda Visheshatma Sri Krishna Karsani Chasa. Okay, Klesa Agni Shubdha, Klesa Agni and Shubdha. These two, Klesa Agni means the suffering, Klesa, suffering, Agni, the fire of suffering, and Subda, all auspiciousness. These two are basically, achieved. Devotee will come to these 2 stages or release the opulency of these 2 stages at Vadi stage. And then Moksha Lahu Krita and Sudurlabha, these 2 are manifested at Bhava stage. So moksha would be still appealing, very attracting up to the bhava stage. Very important thing to be noted. It's not going to go away so easily. But Sandranand Visheshatma, this Visheshatma word is coming in the definition of Bhava Bhakti also. So Sandranand Visheshatma Sri Krishna Akarsani Chasa. So these 2 are coming in the stage of Prema Bhakti. Okay. And to give you some more insight, that there are 3 energy of Lord. Bahya Shakti, Antrik Shakti, and then Tatastha Shakti. So Bahya Shakti, Antarang Shakti, and then Tatastha Shakti. So Bahya Shakti is Tamoguna, Rajaguna, and Tamoguna, Rajaguna, and Sataguna. Tatastha Shakti is the living beings, human beings. Living beings are Tatastha Shakti. So living being can associate with external energy of the Lord, which is fully managed by Maha Maya. Okay, Maha Maya in the form of Durga is in charge of managing the external creation. And then there is Antarang Shakti. Antarang Shakti has 3 parts. Okay, Shamvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. Shamvit, Sandhini, and Hladini. Shamvit Shakti is basically Yog Maya. So the same Mahamaya that is managing this material world get instructions from the Yog Maya. And Yog Maya is basically Sat feature of the Chit feature, sorry, Gyan potency, Chit feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we have Sandhini Shakti. The Sandhini Shakti, the personification of the Sandhini Shakti is Balram, and he is Sat potency. And then Hladini Shakti, these are internal energy, Antarang Shakti. Hladini potency is basically all the happiness, bliss is Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the personification for Hladini Shakti. So what happens is that at Prema stage, devotee will basically understand that what is the Sat, Chit, and Ananda potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's another way, which means devotee is now fully merged, fully perfected their life and now fully focused. There is not the tinge of contamination, fully focused on Krishna's bhakti. So that's another way to see that. What is this Prema stage? At Prema stage, a devotee will be exposed, a devotee will be helped to realize the Antaranga Shakti of the Supreme Personality of God, not in completeness. That another thing. But at least some degree of understanding will be manifested to the devotee. Okay. So that's teaching of Nectar of Devotion, very powerful teaching. Mahaprabhu asked Rupa Goswami, he taught Rupa Goswami, and then he said that please write this principle of devotional service, this bhakti process, so that in Kali Yuga, when Mandasumanda Matayo Manda Bhago Padrato, when the devotee people will come, Kali Yuga Ashmin Yuge Janha, the people will come who will have, Manda Shumanda Matayo, they will be dull, they'll be not very intelligent in a spiritual subject, they'll be always disturbed. For those people, you need to have these things written up so that they can read it and they can perfect their life. So in nutshell, everything is now in your court. Everything Krishna through Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, now everything is our course, within our court. Now it's all the matter of how we apply these things, how we implement these things, and how we make our life perfected. So going ahead in future, our goal is to adopt some of these teachings and perfect ourselves. With that, today's class is over, and let's see if there is any realization. Share some of your realization. What did you understand? Did it make sense to you or not? And then what I'll do is that I think it's very important that we have few slides, at least one class to summarize Samanya Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti, Prem Bhakti. There is one thread still missing, and I don't want to start that thread. How this connects, this how you put the layer one after another. What's the thread that's connecting? So you need to see that one. That will help you a lot. And then with that, Nectar of Devotion is done, which means the Bhakti Sastri course is completed. Okay, so let's see if there are some realizations. Somebody would like to share something. We have still a few minutes that we can take.
Oh, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So the first question is that with Prem Bhakti, now these individuals, are they still in Grastha ashram, or they are in a different, they are really in a sannyasi ashram, or what is their
Ashram is again designation. And Ira Tako, Bane Tako, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written in one of his songs that either you live in forest or you live, in house. Girha tako, bane tako, sada hari dako. Wherever you are, you chant the name of Hari. So it's really not important that you are Girhasta. You could be pure devotee. Even you have a doctor profession, who knows? And if you are remembering Krishna all the time, so it's not necessary that you have to become sannyasa. Or sannyasa might not be a prema bhakta. Bhaktivinoda
Okay.
Thakur was not a sannyasi, but he's Brahmansa, much higher than sannyasi. Gauranga Swami Maharaj was completely renounced. So both sides you can see. Srila Prabhupada had Grihastha life, then he became sannyasi. So it's really, you can see multi-dimension, but the essence is that in any stature that you are in, the most important thing is that you are always in remembrance of Krishna. You have purified your consciousness and you are a Prem Bhakta. But ashram, or a perfect example is multiple, not one or two, there are multiple examples in our Shastra where devotees have different ashram and they were pure devotee. So yes, Prabhu. Amrish Maharaj is one of the examples. He was a king, right? But he was higher than Durvasa Muni. His devotion for Krishna was higher than Durvasa Muni. There is another, personality who comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pundrik Vidyanidhi. He was basically dressing the women naked. He will dress the women like young women, and people will say, "Oh my God, who he is?" Gadadhar Pandit, who was a disciple of him, he got confused that somebody, who is dressing the women, dressing them up for the natak, for the theater, how the person would be. But he was not only pure devotee, but much higher than that. When he heard one pastime of Krishna, his heart, his tears started floating. So he was touching the women's body, but not like on the lust that let you go and serve Krishna. So Prabhu, that's why best no kriya mudra bhujana bujhai. And the one point that we heard in Bhav Bhakti, and we are hearing here also, which I didn't mention, is that it's very hard to understand who is Prema Bhakta. And if you see some offense happening by Prema Bhaktas, we should not see them as an offense, like Pundik Vidyanidhi. It is going to be very confusing. So is that answer your question?
Yeah, because I wanted to understand that
Yeah.
whether you have to be really, in the which ashram, whether you have to really take the sannyas or in the Varnaprasha stage, or because in this day and age, what we have, we are so much attached to our cell phone. I mean, we can't go out without a cell phone. I mean, there's so many other attachments we have, so where is going to end, so I think that's where I'm asking.
That's a good point. A very good point. It's a very valid question. What is our destination? Are we going to be a pure devotee when I leave everything? No, pseudo. We don't want to leave. You don't want to leave Mataji. You don't want to leave your kids, family. Help them become more Krishna conscious. And you yourself become very Krishna conscious. Just by your mercy, your forefathers will be liberated. Wherever they are, they had some connection with you. They all will go back to Krishna. 21 generation up, 21 down. So all we have to do is that try our best to be a serious pure devotee, and Krishna will help. But very valid question. Everybody has to ask that type of question. What is my ashram after that? Does ashram depict anything, reflect anything? No. Ashram do not reflect any degree of Krishna consciousness.
So
But
one
yes,
last
yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
question is that where do the laws of karma really come in this picture. Now, Prem Bhakta or these stages before that.
But
now we
Bhakti
are still,
Vaibhav, sign up for Bhakti Vaibhav.
right.
I'll
And
send
then,
the registration.
so we are still performing karma, right?
Yes.
So because it's not that you are really free of karmas right now, so what's the relationship there? How I know that it's
Yeah.
probably we are in pure prem bhakti, you are performing akarma karma. There's no karma there,
Yeah.
but still bound to be some ups and downs, right?
Yeah. It's a very good question. This question was asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Who is cause of my suffering? Sign up for Bhakti Vaibhav Prabhu. I'll send the registration link. If you are really curious to know, we have to see some context. But Prithu Maharaj says, no kala, no karma, no guna, no shubhava. None of these are cause of my suffering. So who is making me suffer? Is Krishna's plan. But is it Krishna who is making me suffer, or is something else? So all of that is a very technical topic. And once, I have a beautiful slide on this one, like separate presentation I wanted to give in one of the Sunday school, but I thought that is too much. People will get more confused and they will learn anything. But this is a very good question. I hear even many devotees saying it's karma, karma, karma. No. This basically, Bhishma is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj. When Maharaj, Yudhishthira went to see Bhishma, then Yudhishthira Maharaj was feeling very, very repentant. He was in deep, despondency that, it's just because of me. I am the king now. Just because of me, this whole fight happened. And our lineage, everybody in our family got killed. Please forgive me. Bhishma is saying, nope, you are missing the point. When Dhruv Maharaj became very upset with Yaksha because Yaksha killed his brother Uttama, then he started killing Yaksha day in, day out, left, right, like anything. Then Shambhu Manu is coming and saying, what you are doing? You are a pure devotee. And you think that Uttama died because of the Yaksha? Yaksha is cause of the, Uttama's death? No. And then there, it's coming. Some says Swabhava, some says Kala, some says Karma. There are different schools of theology, and they they give different argument. But then he says it's basically Aparkatya and Avarnaniya. This is something that is not very easily revealed. It's not something can be described by word. And then he says, so same. This theme flows in Bhagavatam. So it's not karma, not karma. Karma is very, very insignificant when it comes to bhakti. The things that's holding is not karma, but there are other factors. Okay, Prabhu?
Okay.
It's good type of, yeah, if you ask that type of questions, then I can understand that you are thinking. You are engaging into the discussion. Yes, anybody has anything that they would like to ask? But this is
Would you be able to tell us
question.
what are those factors are, Prabhu? Just real quick.
Yeah, then I'll have to open a different presentation.
Okay, maybe next week can you cover this, Prabhu?